Have you ever walked into a place and felt like you were being watched? Not by people, but by something ancient, something that wasn't supposed to. It's the true story of five friends who made a terrible mistake. They entered a forgotten asylum one night for fun and found something waiting for them. This isn't just about creepy sounds or shadows. What happened inside changed their lives forever. None of them spoke. They didn't need to. Whatever they had experienced wasn't something they could explain or forget. As they approached, the air grew colder. Tom joked, "Are we sure this place isn't still haunted?" They all laughed nervously, but deep down, they felt uneasy. Pushing open the rusted gate, they stepped inside. The flashlight beams danced across peeling paint, broken furniture, and graffiti-covered walls. Every footstep echoed, amplifying their sense of isolation. At first, things were normal, just an old abandoned building. But when they reached the central hallway, something changed. The air felt heavy, like they had walked into a different place entirely. That's when they heard it. The unmistakable sound of faint footsteps coming from the upper floor. "No way," whispered Rachel. "There's no one else here." They convinced themselves that it was just the wind or an animal, but fear began to creep in. As they climbed the staircase, the footsteps grew louder, but they never saw anyone. When they reached the second floor, they noticed something odd. Each room had numbers painted on the doors, except for one door at the end of the hallway. That door had no number. It looked newer than the others, as though it didn't belong. Curiosity got the better of them and they decided to open it. Inside, the room was empty except for a single chair in the center. Before they could react, the door slammed shut behind them. They tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. Suddenly, the air grew colder, and a low whisper filled the room. The voice was neither male nor female, but it sounded wrong, like it came from everywhere at once. Panic set in as they pounded on the door. Then, without warning, it swung open. They bolted out of the room, but something was different. The hallway they came from was gone. In its place was a corridor. Now disoriented, they tried retracing their steps, but no matter which direction they went, they ended up back at the same door. It was as if the building was shifting around them. Rachel began to hyperventilate. "This is impossible. We came from that way." Tom tried to stay calm. "We just need to stay together and keep..." As they walked, they noticed something disturbing, shadows flickering along the walls, but their flashlights weren't casting them. Worse, the shadows didn't match any human figure. They were twisted, elongated, almost inhuman. Suddenly, Jessica froze. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. They all listened, and there it was again. A faint, distant cry. Like a child. Against their better judgment, they followed. The cries led them to a large room with old hospital beds scattered around. In the corner, they saw what looked like a figure crouched on the floor, facing the wall. "Hello? Are you okay?" Sam called out, stepping close. The figure didn't move. They ran, sprinting through hallways that twisted and turned in impossible ways. They could hear the screeching figure following them, its footsteps echoing unnaturally loud. After what felt like an eternity, they found themselves back at the main entrance. Without thinking, they burst through the door, gasping for air as they reached their car. They didn't stop until they were miles away, finally pulling over to gas. None of them spoke. They didn't need to. Whatever they had experienced wasn't something they could explain or forget. For weeks, strange things continued happening. Rachel reported hearing whispers at night. Sam had recurring nightmares of the faceless figure. Tom developed unexplained bruises on his arms, and Jessica refused to speak about the incident altogether. Eventually, they drifted apart. The experience had changed them, and they never returned to the asylum. Years later, the building was demolished, but locals still talk about the strange happenings in the area. Some say the land itself is cursed, that whatever was inside the asylum never left. It just found a new place. Real or imagine, places like this exist all around the world. abandoned, forgotten, and filled with stories we may never fully understand. But tell me, what would you have done if you were in their shoes? Have you ever had an experience you couldn't explain? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own terrifying encounters in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and maybe stay away from abandoned places at night.